About 3 months into the marketing aspect of it, I got a phone call. She had found information, and he had passed away, I believe, about 6 months before he fell off of a roof. That's two that fell off of roofs and lost their lives.
Is there a theme here?
There was a theme there. I would talk to business owners that were roofers and HVAC owners, and I always asked, do you get up on roofs?
You've had multiple instances where the owner started the sale process, was not there. So what do you do? Welcome back to another episode of IAG's War Room. In the Trenches, M&A Stories, where M&A experts talk about how they fought real-world battle of selling businesses, how they ultimately won and closed the deal, or as we like to say, we won the war. I'm Joe Lieberman, Senior Managing Director of IAG. Our guest today is Linda DelCampo, Vice President of Operations at IAG. Today's segment is called Til Death, the trials and tribulations of getting deals done behind the scenes. And it's a good one. So let's go to war. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Joe.
So let's get started. Why don't we talk about your career path into M&A?
I retired from an aerospace manufacturing facility. I said, oh, well, I can go and supplement my income because I'm drawing a pension now. One of my friend's granddaughters worked for a M&A firm, so I went to work for that firm. My CEO, managing director, actually bought the assets and created IAG M&A Advisors. He asked me to come along when he started this company. And I have a second career now, and I've been here since the inception of 2009.
If I do the math correctly, that's 16 years.
That's right. And I need you to do the math. That's your job.
As we have titled today's segment, Til Death, we don't know if that's till we part, but it's intriguing. Why don't you set up the story for us?
We brought on a HVAC company in Arizona back in 2012. And the gentleman was the owner. He was married, but his wife was not part of any of the discussions. We got him prepared for market, got all of his documents created, and got him in front of the buyers, and offers were coming. I was at home one night, and my cell phone rang. It was from a number in Arizona, and it was a lady who asked if I was Linda DelCampo, and she wanted to verify I was with IAG, and I said I am. She proceeded to tell me that she found some paperwork in her husband's drawer with my contact information and wanted me to know that he had actually went up on a roof and fallen and passed away. It was devastating for her. And myself being a widow, of course, I certainly sympathized with her. I'd been down that road myself. So we had a long conversation. She said, what do I need to do?
So you have somebody who signed up to sell their business. And it sounds to me like he was primarily involved in the business.
That's correct.
Employees, but somebody who built it from scratch and really was looking forward to the next phase of his life, as I say, transition his legacy and extract his wealth. As I know from talking to you, that has happened more than once.
It has. Unfortunately, it has.
Why don't you enlighten us with another one?
Well, there was another one, and this business was a roofing company. Same scenario. Wife was not a part of the beginning of the process, getting in front of buyers, working with the transaction specialist. About 3 months into the marketing aspect of it, I got another phone call. She had found information, and he had passed away, I believe, about 6 months before she found the information. And he fell off of a roof. That's two that fell off of roofs and lost their lives.
Is there a theme here?
There was a theme there. I was very concerned when I would talk to business owners that were roofers and HVAC owners. And I always asked, do you do the work yourself? Do you get up on roofs? I started asking that question, and I still to this day will ask a new owner that comes aboard, because it's given me reason to be cautious.
From our perspective, this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment for our clients. but we need them to be there for this moment. Sometimes when clients are heavily involved, where they are actually working in the business instead of on it, it raises questions about the value and also how effectively we can be if something happens down the road. So you have these two instances. Anything else come to mind?
I had a couple more. They were different scenarios. They did not lose their life on the job, but they had illnesses that took their lives. And it was the same 2 phone calls from wives who had found the information in their desk drawer and reached out to me.
Well, that's emotional, right? When you get that call,
It's not very
about business.
emotional.
It's not about business at that moment.
That's correct. And for me, when I'm talking with the business owner now, if they have a spouse, I encourage the spouse to be part of the beginning of this process.
So what I'm hearing is there's a lot of risk in going to market. We need to make sure that the business is operating under normal circumstances. And when a seller is not there, that's certainly not normal. And you've had multiple instances where the owner started the sale process was not there. So what do you do? So Linda, you're responsible for catering and bringing our clients through the process. We have other folks who are handling due diligence and helping close the deals, but you're the primary person in that transitions these clients. What did you do with these accounts where you didn't have an owner who was with us?
Well, there are several different scenarios with the 4. 2 of them were not very difficult because the wives were part owner. Their attorney quickly got this through the stages they needed to do so we could keep them on the market, right? So we could happily get them sold. Those 2 did sell.
Were they involved in discussions with buyers at the time?
They were not. They were there as an owner, but they had a financial advisor to help them have the conversations. They had to have help, but they had wealth advisors and financials advisors to guide them through the sale. And they successfully sold, which made us very happy for our client.
In this case, fortunately, the businesses were viable and there were buyers who didn't need the previous owner, could successfully take it over.
The other 2 were not that fortunate. There's lots of reasons why. A lot of it had to do with legal issues, children, stepchildren, no will, no clear ownership other than the owner themselves. One of them we still have on the market, but we're not able to do much right now until all of the legal aspects go away. The other one, the wife decided just to hand it over to her son. It was a tough decision for her, and it took her about 3 months. She said, I just want to give it to my son. I said, if that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. 4 in my tenure here is 4 too many.
Clearly, businesses don't sell the minute we put it on the market. Some sell relatively quickly, maybe within 90 days. That would be very wonderful. And sometimes they take literally years. We
That's
never
correct.
know. What would be your advice to owners who are single entities, who are relatively older in their careers and have basically operated the business on their own?
My advice to them is always have a plan of action in place in case of an emergency. To have a wealth advisor, a financial advisor, something legal that's going to protect them. God forbid an emergency happens, because we all know that we're not here forever, right?
Really?
What I have found out is, yes, if you're married and yes, your spouse may have never been in the business, make sure they're in the loop. Make sure they understand what you're doing and who your contact is. If something happens to you, it's going to be detrimental enough to your spouse to deal with that loss, but then trying to determine who are you working with can be exhausting.
My experience has been that when you have a couple who communicate with each other and support each other, whoever owns the business, they seem to have a stronger ability to succeed in the entire sale.
That's correct.
When there's a support network around them. Any other tidbits of advice?
Well, stay alive. I always advise them to get a financial advisor, to get with the wealth manager, to make sure that everyone in their family knows they're selling and knows who the contact is. We've had some that have gotten sick, had to have surgeries, the wives, the children. Someone would call me because they understood that these things can happen.
And we all know it wasn't because of you. You don't have some sort of karma. You actually resurrect deals and make them happen. Sounds to me like you've been through many battles and continue to fight them on behalf of our clients to win the war. Linda, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for talking to me today.
My pleasure as well, Mr. Lieberman.